Set.
Are all the cameras on? Oh, is everything on?
Yes.
Oh! Alright, let's get started!
One film.
I think our director is saying we should get started. You can do that.
Vampires. They're right to kill! Recording? Oh, excellent. That's the signal to stop. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 15 of Nights at the Round Table. Jesus Christ. Today we are discussing the film Ladyhawke. I am sitting here today with Jen and with Caroline, and because Caroline is our special guest, she gets to go first. General impressions of the film?
Oh my god, the music.
Oh, yeah.
It's always the first thing that comes to mind with Ladyhawke, which, is kind of a counterpoint, because the movie is good, but the music is just so memorable and MacGyverish.
Memorable, yeah. Memorable not in a good way.
No.
See, this with MacGyver, it's memorable in a good way.
Is it?
Yeah, because I associate
Yes.
that. And I'm like, yay, MacGyver!
It's true.
But then I listen to this music and I'm like, what is going on?
Where's Richard Dean Anderson?
Exactly.
That would make this so much better.
Is he going to fix the horse duct tape?
The horse is fine. Except that it kept running with its head pulled back.
That's the nature of the breed.
Ow.
Sorry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if they're not at a flat out run where their head is down, they tend to draw it back.
I know that horses have shoes.
Frisians, I love them. This movie is the reason why I love Frisians, actually. That's what got me onto the breed. Have you done with your? We all just jumped in, yeah?
It was not as dreadful as I thought it was going to be. I've never seen it before. So Thursday was the first time that I've ever seen it.
Oh, wow.
And I really didn't want to watch it. Because I wasn't in the mood for it. So I was just like, oh, fine, let's get this over with. And
We aim to please.
And I don't know, Matthew Broderick was so snarky and hilarious.
I love his character. It's one of my favorite things in the movie.
He was quite amusing. And then that made me kind of go, okay, I'm willing to continue watching this. Even though we have to continue watching it, I was willing to continue watching it. And then, I don't know, it was kind of, some things were fun, and some things were like, okay.
Yeah.
I really liked the monk.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And Abraham, his donkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was okay. I liked that the bad guys were intelligent, because it actually made me nervous for the good guys, because, they were smart, and the good guys were not.
Although it always fascinated me as a kid. I saw this movie very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
And, for years I remained convinced that bishops were evil sorcerers. And I really wondered why they were in the church. So that's one aspect of the movie that, rewatching it as an adult, I was like, yeah, what's up with that?
See, I just assumed it was during the Spanish Inquisition or something, and it was like, yeah, they're all evil anyways, so.
Well, yeah, but
during
the Crusades,
the casting spells thing.
they made a mention of it being during the Crusades.
Okay.
Like, Isabeau's father was killed, killing Saracens was the line.
Yeah, that meant nothing to me.
Oh, Crusades. That's a Crusade reference. For myself, I watched this movie when I was a kid and I loved it. I watched it, I want to say over 10 years ago, as an adult, and I didn't like it at all. And then watching it again this time, I'm like, actually, you know what, it's actually kind of okay. It's a good movie. The music, though, you're right. The music,
Yeah.
as soon as it started, I'm like, oh, why must everything be so 80s? People in charge of this movie, you release it special, because I will buy the DVD, but rescore the film, please.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really cool to have that. But yeah, I was asked, can you guess when this film was made? And I was like, 80s?
Definitely.
So 80s. 85, in fact, according to my notes.
Very good year.
Oh, wow.
The story itself was actually quite good. I enjoyed the storyline, and I'm not
Yes.
usually one for romances, but again, this speaks to my character. Unfulfilled romances are really interesting for me.
They are. Well, they have so much conflict inherent to the very relationship.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really good. Although, in my second watching, Matthew Broderick's character Mouse really bugged me. He annoyed me so much. This time around, not so much. But
I actually remember being bugged by him in my teenage years too.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
But then I watched it. I watched it just recently for this panel, and I was like, he is really one of the best characters in the film, and it kind of contrasted heavily with, you know, the Isabeau and Etienne characters are so not that interesting.
One-dimensional?
Yes. Oh, I wanted to be mild about it.
It felt a lot like the old fairy tales. Like, I actually felt like I was watching a fairy tale that I had read before, but I know I haven't. It's so similar to so many of them, whereas they get turned into one thing or another, and
Yes.
they have to complete a quest in order to.
Which is actually what I liked about, much of what I liked about this movie was the whole fairy tale feel of the story. Even right down to like the sorcerer bishops, because in Irish myth, priests are basically druids. Like,
Yeah, I could see that.
they, I think there's stories of St. Patrick doing all kinds of like druidic
Yeah.
things, like calling in storms and
No snakes, though.
no
No,
snakes. None at all.
But this was French, and you know,
Wasn't it Italian?
no, it was all French.
Well, the characters were French.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it
okay.
Italian landscape?
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yeah.
we go.
Are you questioning this? I mean, he was also like,
Well, they went everywhere because I recognized some Northern Ireland in there. Like during the relay, where they just showed a scene of a guy riding, getting off his horse near a pond, getting on a different horse and riding
That
away.
was so funny. I was like, they just happened to have a way station in the middle of nowhere
Of
with
course.
no buildings anywhere near there.
just sheep and as other horse.
yeah, this one horse there.
Does that stand there all the time?
That looked like Northern Ireland to me.
It
I'm
was
pretty sure the
so
landscape was.
weird.
It's like in Lord of the Rings. It's one of those situations where they light the beacons, and you're like, are there people just
Living
living there?
I assumed that there were.
But there were no buildings. There were just the beacons.
Sometimes there were
Oh
buildings.
yeah, actually that's true. I did see a couple of beehives.
Yeah, just like little tiny houses, kind of like in Star Trek when it's just Scotty and little guy that I don't know the name of anymore.
Oh yeah, the new one.
Yeah, and they're living in the middle of nowhere on the ice planet, and it's
I guess.
just them.
Okay, yeah, but it was that horse exchange was really weird.
Yeah.
To get back to Mouse though, he was super annoying, especially when he gets to the middle of like nowhere essentially. And he's like, a toast to myself,
yes.
and I'm like, are you
Why?
kidding me? And
Yeah.
everybody that's there is
Like
the
a
evil
soldier,
guys.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
But it suited his character though.
It did, but it was also
but he
like,
couldn't
it was-
notice?
It was stupid of him, but it suited his character.
how are you this you know super clever guy who's escaped the dungeon and blah blah blah?
He only escaped the dungeon because he was little.
Yeah, it's true.
I thought he was a child. At first.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I seriously thought it was
You
a
know what?
child that they had put in the dungeon.
If
like
ever
a
they
10-year-old.
remake this movie, they should put a child as Mouse.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so too.
So my favorite part from the movie was when, now I'm calling him Ferris Bueller.
Sorry.
Mouse.
How
Mouse.
do we address it?
When
Mouse.
Mouse goes off, when they're at the cabin in the woods with the creepy old man and the creepy old woman, and he's like in the middle of nowhere looking for a way away, or is he looking for firewood? I
He was
forget.
looking for firewood and then decides he's gonna run off, and then he
Okay.
hears the wolf and runs back.
But he hears the wolf, and then he starts like creating two other people
yes,
that are with
yes,
him, and he's like talking to them and replying, and like, I'm going to go for help. And
Leave no prisoners, Pierre!
that was was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that was actually very funny. The bits where he was funny, he was very funny.
Yeah.
But there was a little too much of trying to be comic relief, I think, for his character.
Yeah.
In a story that he does cry well, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
He cried very well.
I was like,
One with any emotion.
it's just
Yeah, just a tiny.
that was such perfect.
Crying.
I think that's the
Yeah.
only reason you care about the love story is because he's crying about it.
Yeah. And I think that his character would have been less annoying if there had been more of the other characters. Because
Yes.
he had a big void to fill in that movie. So
Yeah, I would have liked
there's
to
a
have
lot
been
of that.
a lot more on the bishop. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
flesh out the bishop a bit more, other than just he's
A scorned lover.
right.
With very, very fancy robes.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself. She didn't choose you, and returning.
Although, mind you, I know a lot of people who are like that. Right down to the if I can't have her, no one can.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
scary.
It's stupid, but there are people like that.
It's not just stupid.
A
It's
relationship is like
it's
mutual.
it's a partnership,
Supposedly.
and that's downright possessive and like it completely. Anyways.
Yes.
Not in the 1300s.
Yeah. Well, there was that.
Or the 80s, apparently.
But then again, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer was really way too old to be like anybody's bride or fiance in the 1500s.
I loved her.
So-
Yeah, her hair was awesome, right? At
Yeah,
first,
her
it
hair
took me aback. I'm like, really in the middle age? I really? And then I'm like, actually, it kind of suits. Not because of the era, but because of the hawk thing.
Yeah.
Because they don't have great big long feathers, do they? They have short feathers, so it makes sense that the hair on her head would be shorter.
See, I just assumed that she'd cut it short because she'd had to disguise herself as a boy sometimes.
Or maybe that.
That's a good idea.
Although she didn't do a very good job of it, if that was the case, even though
Well,
she
she
was
didn't do it in the
boyish
movie.
clothes.
But I assumed, like, off screen.
I do remember being genuinely, when I was a kid especially, but during this watch too, I was genuinely upset when the wolf fell through the ice.
Me too. And I remember the whole like scene with the claw marks, and that was one of my most vivid memories from the movie as a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt rushed.
Did it for you?
Yeah, it was like, oh, and there's claw marks. Okay.
Oh, yeah, the jump between. Like, they should
Yeah.
have showed him,
Yeah,
or scratched him bleeding, I think.
yeah. It should have been way more than that, too. Like,
Yeah, because he's kind of all dressed, and you don't see that he tore anything there. And then all of a sudden, there's like big claw marks. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see what you mean.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It was not the only time that it was really disjointed. There was one other time early on that I do not remember because it was so disjointed that I was like, wait, what? 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 Oh, I guess they'll explain it later, but
And then they never did.
I don't remember. Like, it was so, like, out of left field that I don't even remember what it was.
There's also the crazy progression of the weather. Didn't notice. Oh, me, it was like I never noticed until I recently watched it, and I was like, it gets to winter really fast. You know, it's,
Oh, I assumed it was an altitude thing.
oh, it could be.
I didn't actually even pay attention. And now I'm curious. Was it a changing of the seasons, or was it?
Could be.
Yeah, I just assumed an altitude thing.
They were digging the hole not in winter to trap the wolf.
But then the wolf crossed a lake of ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't even notice.
Errors! Errors!
Also, why are they digging a hole?
Yeah, that made no sense.
Can you
Wolves
just
can
like go
jump-
into the cage to change or something?
Yeah.
I didn't know what their plan was.
Hadn't they not? Didn't Etienne show them how to build a cage to contain a wolf after the whole falling through the ice thing?
I guess. It still doesn't explain why they're digging a hole.
Because that was how they planned on capturing the wolf, to make him stay for...
But why are they even wanting to capture the wolf? Can't they just, you know, tell the guy, so tonight, when you change, could you go there?
Because, well, granted he wasn't very clever, but I think even he would be like, you want me to go into a cage to change? Really?
But wouldn't he wake up there and still have a sword?
I don't know.
You know, if he's gonna get mad at them.
I don't know, the whole plan didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense at all.
No.
It made a lot more sense when he finally agreed, sort of. But I figured out that it was going to be an eclipse, like...
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't think they were trying to make a mystery of it though.
No, I don't. Yeah.
It's just that
Well,
he wasn't
everybody
very-
else was like, it can't happen!
Well, that's just because he's not very clever.
Yeah. Well, it's also possible he'd never seen one before.
Really? Because he looked like he would have been in his late 30s and he's never seen an eclipse.
Well, you're not always outside when it happens.
It also doesn't happen in the same location. So
Yeah, all
like,
the time.
the last time I remember a full eclipse happening, I was in grade 4.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I was in high school, I think.
Probably the same one.
Probably, yeah.
And it hasn't fully happened in this part of Canada since then, that I'm aware of. Go ahead, correct me.
I'm probably wrong. Well, I guess.
But it's happened in other parts of the world where it's been a full eclipse since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that
Yeah.
for a fact.
Okay.
But we didn't get a full one.
Well then. Yeah, this movie. I'm in two different minds about it. I really am. Part of me loves it, and part of me is like, no, just no.
I didn't love it. I liked it.
Well, that's better than nothing. Ish.
I didn't hate it. I wouldn't really want to watch it again, like, within a few years, maybe.
I would really like to see this movie redone.
Yeah,
I think it would be awesome.
It would be, yeah.
It could be a disaster, but it could also be awesome.
they'd have better special effects for the changeover between human and animal.
Oh my goodness.
Also,
Oh my God.
better fight choreography, please. Please. And also, swords that are not clearly made of rubber.
I know! Like I'm gonna roll over and boing.
Although, I have to say, from what limited equestrian martial arts experience I do have, the sword fight in the cathedral, whatever it was, very accurate. Because it is basically you just run at each other with swords and hope to knock each other off your horse. And then the gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you basically grappling on horseback to take someone down. So yeah, that actually was pretty accurate.
It looked like, I know nothing about equestrian anything, but like comparing it to the court jester when they do anything on horseback, it was very similar to that, and they had pretty good choreography. I mean, they had Basil Rathbone in that movie, so
Yeah.
like it seemed logical
Yeah.
at that point.
Yes. That was the only fight choreography that I actually kind of sort of enjoyed. Because the rest of it I was just like, oh, no. This could have been done so much better. So much. You guys had a good budget. Hire a good swordsman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've had so many, like, there were so many at that point that could have done the
they could have done
choreography.
a good fight choreography. I'm really just upset at the fight choreography, let's be honest.
Although Mouse running away was pretty funny though.
Yeah.
It was
on
funny.
the top.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
It's
that-
like,
that was
but yeah,
actually
because
pretty
they
cool.
cannot see where his feet are and go.
Right? Right? I think these people were the stormtroopers of their generation. I mean, Jesus.
Mind you, the captain wasn't fighting. He was watching them fight and being like,
Yeah.
if you saw that, he was just sitting there.
To be honest,
like,
I would have been a peasant being...
Yeah.
well, they were all running away because they were afraid that they would miss the mouse and catch
well,
them.
yes, because, I don't know, they're swinging swords like apes. I have no idea. It was just ridiculous.
I have that exact same thing that you were mentioning, where I kind of love it and it really bugs me at the same time. I have that a lot with the things I love, where I love it and I love it and I love it, and then there's this bit that bugs me, and I will go on rants that can last hours,
Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
amongst other things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because the story is good and there's an awful lot of potential there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was slightly wasted in this movie. And also from the 80s soundtrack, I just,
I completely agree with you.
yeah.
I would love to see it redone and fleshed out.
Yeah, I definitely would because again, there's a lot of potential in this story. It's a good story.
If you could just have balance between the characters, have a cast of really well-written characters that balance each other out, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Make me really
Hollywood.
care about this love story beyond the concept.
Yes, that's it exactly. I want to care about the love story. But I didn't enough to make this movie.
I wanted them to succeed.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, they succeeded.
Yeah, it
No,
wasn't like
you know what?
vindicated,
Yeah, that's it exactly. Well, it's because
It was vindicated because the bad guy was dead. I was really happy he was dead. And then I was like...
see, I wasn't convinced of his badness enough for me to really care that he died. I don't care. Whoop-de-doo.
He was killing people in his dungeons for no reason.
Really for no reason though, because the only person you know who escaped those dungeons was actually a thief, and so should probably have been in those dungeons.
Gee, I wonder why he was a thief. Let me think. Oh, I remember. The bishop was saying that he wanted to charge more taxes, but was told that there was no money left to take from them. So, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that needed to be fleshed out more. Because then I didn't care.
Yeah, it did.
Sorry, peasants.
I was like, oh, Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, a bit.
All over again.
Yeah.
It was a Robin Hood story mixed with fairy tale.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but you understood that, and you got the emotional impact of it from other things that you referenced from these little things, like you never saw really the people in this world except for that really creepy couple.
I was really upset when he took Daddy's shoes.
Yeah,
I was upset
I hope
those aren't his only shoes.
And also, kids, scream.
Yeah.
He took Daddy's shoes. There you go. You bastard! Bring those back.
Yeah. And they just stayed sitting there, and he was like,
They took
Go
Daddy's
on.
shoes. Yeah. I know it's supposed to be funny, but I was just like, no.
Yeah.
Really?
why were they hanging on a branch anyways?
To dry.
Okay. It seemed really weird because they don't have laces, so how were they draped over a branch?
Obviously they were.
You'll have to ask props. I have no idea. Okay, so closing thoughts and star rating. Jen.
I don't really have any more thoughts. Head is blank. Rating for this particular version of it, it's probably a 2.
Okay.
If I see it better made, I would be all over that.
Yeah, seriously, Hollywood, get on that. I mean, we know you're not doing much with original work.
Yeah.
Remake, Ladyhawke, it's right there.
You can even call it something else.
No, well, yeah, I guess.
Probably. I would go with a 3 because it has a big nostalgia factor for me. So.
Yeah, I had none of that.
Yeah, no, it's the same for me, 3, mostly because of the nostalgia and also because the concept is so good.
Yeah.
There is so much potential, it just was executed really poorly.
Bad job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was executed really poorly, and the critical side of me is really disappointed. But at the same time, it got my imagination going again. Even now, I literally just finished watching it this morning before breakfast, and I was like, oh, geez, the things you could do with this story.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my mind just went, so.
I was actually really surprised that Ladyhawke, the name of the hawk, wasn't given to her until 2 days before she stopped becoming a hawk.
Seriously.
I was like,
Ladyhawke, that's it.
why is this
Haven't you been
called
traveling
the entire
for 2 years? Yeah, no. But then, there was a lot of things like that in the movie where it was kind of
Just sort of thrown in.
Yeah.
There you go. Here. Yeah, no, I agree. Alright. Pick a new one.
Ooh.
I'm envious that you got to pick.
Doom!
This is a great terrible movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks we the movie Doom from 2005. If you have any thoughts about Ladyhawke, leave a comment down below. You can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am SM Carrière. You can find me on Twitter at SM Carrière.
Generic Designs, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, possibly Tumblr. We have a website too.
I'll leave a link.
I'm Caroline Frechette, carolinefrechette.com, and you can also find me at carolfrechette1 because apparently I'm not original.
I think you're very original.
Thank you.
All right,
Somebody else stole your originality.
Exactly.
the bastards.
Yeah.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Bye. No.